All right, welcome back, everybody. My name's Nick.
I'm Brandon.
Episode 9 of Recliner Sports Talk. Only doing one episode today, no pick show, because guess what? Only 2 games to pick from. Exciting and sad at the same time. Obviously, football season coming to a complete close here, but just kind of looking back, some cool stuff happening when we didn't even know if we're going to have a football season. So, good stuff there. So, what we're going to do today, kind of combine the two. We're going to do a little playoff review from last week, do our playoff picks. Brandon's catching flies right now. Nets win it all. Question mark. Duke, Kentucky, UNC. What's up with that? And then lastly, 3 games we'd go back in time to go attend. Okay, we'd go there in person. So that's what we got on the slate for you today. So let's hop right into it. First game of this past weekend, Rams versus Packers. Brandon, what'd you take from that game there?
I'd take that. I think Jared Goff is not the guy. I think the Rams might trade him. I mean, he's worth a lot of money.
Get a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we know how quarterbacks go. The Rams their defense is good, but they've spent a lot of money on key pieces and they don't win. Look at Ramsey, look at Aaron Donald, look at Jared Goff, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. Like, they're paying these guys big time money and they're not winning games. So at some point you got to be like, I got to blow it up.
Yeah.
I mean, their O-line's only going to get worse because Whitworth.
And their defense is great right now.
Yeah, but like their O-line, Whitworth, he's going to retire. That's going to be a real struggle. For their D-line, Leonard Floyd played well this year. But he lots of money. Donald, lots of money. Like, look at their linebackers. I mean, come on now. Troy Reader's not the greatest linebacker in the world. Their linebacking corps
times there too. He's a backup. He started because guys were hurt.
Yeah, their linebackers aren't very good, and their secondary's all right. Ramsey helps. Other than that, it's kind of like
Aaron Donald pressure on the quarterback helps too.
Yeah, I mean, I just think they have too many high-ticket items and not enough quality, like, mid-level guys. And I think you can't win without those quality mid-level guys. So I think the Rams are going to struggle if they don't shed some of their salary. And I just think the Packers – we'll get to it. I won't talk a whole lot about the Packers, but I think they're clicking.
Yeah, and I have written down the Packers were in control kind of the whole time. Obviously, there were some close points in the game, but it was never like out of hand. Donald being hurt them, and then I kind of agree and disagree with what you're saying there. Goff obviously injured in the cold with a thumb surgery. All right, probably not the greatest for throwing. I think you're right. They could trade him if you think maybe they want to draft a quarterback. You know, maybe they like the Wilson from BYU. Maybe they like the North Dakota State guy. Maybe, you know what I mean? Just a team where, what do they do a lot? Under center play action. And they did a lot of design runs for the backup quarterback there. You know, maybe Trey Lance or the BYU guy can kind of do some of those things. Or LA's kind of a spot people want to be. You know?
Exactly.
So Dak being a free agent there, maybe that's a spot he looks, you know? Again, like you said, shed some money. Maybe they trade for some picks or a guy, because obviously they've proven they got the running back. But like you said, they need linebackers and they need a quarterback. If they can do that, boom there, you know? And then, so yeah, we'll get into the Packers here later. So next up, Ravens at Bills. Brandon, what you got?
And I thought this was going to be a really good game. The Ravens, you know what? I'd hate to say it, but they're a type of team if you game plan for. Like, if you really try. In the playoffs, you know how teams tighten up. Like, the regular season, people try every week in football. It's not like the NBA where teams will have games where they just don't care. Or like baseball, it's a long season. But it seems like come playoff time, you decide to shut the run game down, which is possible. Look, Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards. He was shut down. in the playoffs.
There's
The
a
Ravens
rushing.
averaged like 300 yards a game rushing, and they were essentially shut down. Lamar is a very good quarterback. He is, but he's got to get more accurate. He's got to learn that you can't just tuck and run the ball all the time, because most of the time, if you scramble but you stay kind of like in the pocket, receivers will get open, and that's how you have big plays. Like, you don't have to run the ball every time. Obviously, he's so good at that, but if you contain Lamar Jackson in the pocket, you can and stop the run. You can beat the Ravens.
Yeah, and I think Deshaun obviously kind of went away from it this year, right? Because in the playoffs, Deshaun's big thing was, can he pass? Can he pass? Can he pass? I still remember 2 years ago when they were playing the Colts in that game where he just couldn't pass. So again, I don't want to say necessarily it's Lamar here, right? They don't have receivers. They need another receiver there. You can't have this all-world athletic quarterback and not give him anybody to throw to. Listen, Tom Brady's special, right? Because he's made a lot out of nothing. But even Drew Brees has had some great dudes to throw to. Okay. Give Lamar something to throw to. Again, I say it again. Scat wide receivers are great. Those slot guys are great. But if you're consistently throwing in the NFL to 5'9", 170-pound guys as your number one receiver, that's not great. Okay. So if the Ravens want to take that next step and you want Lamar to pass more, you got to give him a better target. Mark Andrews can't be his main target all the time as a big dude. So maybe they get off season. Obviously, some good receivers out there in the off season, or they draft a guy. I don't know. I don't know if anybody's going to fall there. That's going to be that game changer for him in the first. So it might have to be a free agent sign. And if I'm a receiver, I want to play with Lamar. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Bills, we'll get into them when we talk about the game here soon. All right, Browns at Chiefs. Brandon, Chiefs. Obviously, we'll talk about the Chiefs in a second, but the Browns, tell me about what you thought in that game.
I think the Browns, I do actually believe Baker can be a guy. We talk about, I'm talking crap on Jared Goff. I'm talking crap on Carson Wentz. I talk crap on Baker Mayfield. You can win with Baker Mayfield. I don't know if you can win a championship, but I feel like you can get pretty far in the playoffs with Baker. But it helps that they have Nick Chubb. It helps they have Kareem Hunt. I don't know how long Kareem Hunt will stay there. That was like his second chance. I'm sure another team will sign him again. So I don't know if he's going to stay. It really helps to have those two guys. Odell will help, obviously, in the future if he even stays on Cleveland. I think Cleveland's got a bright future, though. Myles Garrett, he's 24 years old, 25 years old. I mean, he's one of the top 3 pass rushers in the NFL. Their defense is a little below average, I think. But I think they're just a couple free agent signings away this year, and they should be back. I think Cleveland will be back.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing in this game, some of your heavily reliable guys on their team, this was their first postseason ever. Even a guy like Jarvis Landry, who's a vet, played for the Dolphins and then the Browns. Like, it wasn't like he was coming from some winning pedigree. No. And that's their veteran captain type guy. So obviously you don't have Odell there. Listen, if I'm Odell, I'm like, why wouldn't I stay? Like you said, Baker went number 1 overall for a reason. Now, is he Mahomes-esque? No, not at all. But listen, what the Browns did in that draft was get a guy they knew could help them win. All right. You're not taking a risk guy. You took a guy that had success, had that moxie about him, and that's what they're going to keep on bringing. Like you said, Browns have the pieces. Maybe they're 1 or 2 pieces away, but I think one of the big pieces they got this year was just the experience of winning. Browns, 18 years, coaching staffs and all that. Now you bring all those key pieces back with the coaching staff. Again, coaching staff's kind of been a wishy-washy thing there as well. Bring that all back. It'll be cool to see what they do next year.
I agree.
And then the last game from last weekend, Bucks versus Saints. What'd you see in that game, Brandon?
Drew Brees is done. He looked bad, really bad, actually. I don't want to say Tampa looked great either. That game, honestly, was the worst, I think, out of the weekend.
Yeah,
I mean, I watched the entire game, and I don't know. It was just kind of like, man, that game wasn't entertaining to me. Kamara, he didn't have the greatest game. I know he started out good, but I don't know. It just Drew Brees. It's a shame because obviously we watched him in his prime, and you're like, okay, he's one of the greatest of all time. And last game, it's pretty evident. His career is probably coming to an end, like Phillip Rivers announced today.
Yeah.
Michael Thomas, your boy, slant god. What the hell? 0 catches.
I mean, I think the thing is, you lock down on him defensively. Bucks good defense. And two, when you have a quarterback where he has to run slants for you to get him the ball.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think Taysom's a guy. I'm
No.
interested to see if Jameis gets re-signed. You know what I mean? Like, what do they do? We can talk about this at later dates, but what do they do? Because Breeze, he's done. Listen, that's all he can do. He's maxing out at this level in the playoffs right now. And it sucks to say. And I heard the guys on part of my take talking about it. Imagine being a Saints fan and saying, you had Sean Payton, you had Drew Brees, and you won one Super Bowl in all this time.
Nick, you know damn well it's super hard to win a Super Bowl. Like, you can't.
But they didn't get back. Usually when you have what do we say? If you have a good head coach and a good quarterback, that's what you need. Well, that's what they had. That's what they had.
They had terrible defenses until now.
I know, but again, that's the thing. So it'll be interesting to see all these great young quarterbacks now. What happens in the future? Can they try to get to that championship when you have guys
This will
like
be
Mahomes?
the craziest offseason for quarterbacks. I really think 10 teams could have different quarterbacks next year.
Which is crazy, right? Because going into the season, it was like, all right, quarterbacks are solidified pretty much. So
does Matt Stafford get traded?
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, what happens?
Jared Goff, does Carson Wentz? What happens with Matt Ryan? Did the Falcons draft a quarterback? You know, like, because Matt Ryan's getting up there. The Steelers need a quarterback, I'll tell you that. You know, stuff like that. It's kind of like, what is going on? Do the Jets, what do they do? Is Cam Newton done in New England? You know, I think there's a lot of story. It's Derek Carr, your guy. I don't know.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. But that is our review from the past weekend. Obviously, we didn't go too much into it. You guys watch the games. We watch the games. But here's to what the big stuff is right here. All right, Brandon, first game of the weekend, Bucks at the Packers.
I think
what do you think?
I think this will be the Packers, and I think they cover easily. It's only 3. Tampa didn't show me a whole lot last week. I know it's Tom Brady, blah, 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 blah. I know their offense and their defense is good too, but Aaron Rodgers looks like he is on a mission. He's looked like he's been on a mission since Jordan Love was drafted. I can't believe they drafted him and didn't draft, a wideout.
But look how good their receivers have been doing.
Not receivers, it's one receiver.
But yeah, one receiver, but the others are looking fine.
I don't know. Valdez-Scantling, he drops a lot. I vividly remember him dropping a couple balls. I'm not saying last game, but just recently. It's just like, it seems like Devontae Adams has to do everything. I mean, granted, he's probably a top 2 receiver in the league. So yes, you're lucky you have him with Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's all you need. And, you have a decent run game now and their defense is solid, but I don't see the Packers losing. They have great coaching, great game plans. And you have Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. That's literally all you need. You need 4 things: Devontae Adams, Rodgers, the coaching staff, and a good game plan. I don't see Tampa Bay beating them. I don't see it. Like, that game versus the Saints. The Saints are not that good. Saints are fool's gold. Their record's fool's gold. The Steelers, fool's gold. There are a lot of these teams this year that were Seattle, 12-4, fool's gold. Green Bay is not fool's gold. Green Bay is a very, very, very good football team. I know we saw last year the 49ers ran all over them in the playoffs and everything, but this isn't last year. Aaron Rodgers is different. He's different. He's trying to prove a point, and I don't see them losing. In fact, I'm still going to go with the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, but god damn, I would not bet against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, so I'm going to disagree with you on the receivers thing right now because look, what were they going to get him? People said, well, how do you not get him another receiver? Well, Devontae Adams arguably is the best receiver in the league
Yeah.
right now. So why go get another receiver when you got that? Well, why didn't they get a running back? Aaron Jones looked all right. He's looked all right all season. So
they did get a running back
in
the second round. They got a running back in the second round.
Here's the thing I'm saying. Aaron Jones has been their guy. So again,
he ran for over 1,000 yards this year.
Jamal Williams, 12 carries, 65 yards as
Jamal Williams is a solid backup.
So again, all these draft experts, I can't believe maybe they knew what they're doing. Jordan Love, you're going to do the same thing Rodgers did. You know what I mean? When they drafted him.
And the Packers are doing this without the best left tackle in football, and David Bakhtiari.
And their defense has been playing well. I'm not going to say they're
Darnell Savage.
But listen, they're playing pretty well, average to above average defense with the best quarterback in the league right now this season, MVP, Aaron Rodgers. Like you said, it's crazy to say some of these really talented guys, right? Like, man, when he's locked in, I'm sure he's locked in all the time, but this is a different level right now.
It's different.
Locked in MVP mode, Aaron Rodgers. Can he get it done? Because here's the thing. He's not playing against Tom Brady. And I'm sure he'll say that. I think he has said things like that before, right? He's not sitting there lining up against Tom Brady. In the back of your head, this is kind of a game like, all right, this might be my last shot if you're Aaron Rodgers, right? So I got to get it done. Last time they played 38-10, Packers went up 10-0 and lost 38-10 when they played back in October. Now, Rodgers, no passing touchdowns, and they only rushed for 94 yards as a team. But here's the big difference, I think, this time. Now, you could say, well, warm weather. All right, Tom and Antonio Brown are fine with cold weather. All right. Listen, there's some vets on this team that know what they're doing. But here's the big thing here. Today at practice, Wednesday, we're filming this on Wednesday. Buccaneers, Antonio Brown did not practice. Mike Evans, limited participation. Chris Godwin, limited participation.
They'll play.
Jones, limited participation, all at practice, all banged up.
They'll play, though. They'll play.
I understand they'll play, but listen to this. Injuries for the Packers. Mason Crosby, shoulder. Limited practice. Lazard, wrist and back, still practice.
Lazard sucks anyway.
Well, how are you saying this? You know what Lazard did last week?
He sucks.
Lazard.
Did he have 3 receptions for like 65 yards or something?
4 receptions, 96 yards, a touchdown. He sucks. Stop with that. He led the team with receiving yards and had a touchdown. He's fine.
Yeah, because Jalen Ramsey was on Adams most of the time. Which is why you need a great second receiver, and Lazard is not. Again,
the Bucs are banged up. I understand they'll play. But again, I think this is a good game. I think it is a 3-point game. I know the line's 3. I'm saying 27-24 Packers get it done, go to the Super Bowl.
I don't believe so. I'm going 28-21 Packers.
Okay. Next up, Bills at
Chiefs.
What you got, Brandon?
Well, Mahomes play. Are we going what ifs here? I think Mahomes is supposed to play.
The floor is yours.
I mean, I think the Chiefs win if Mahomes plays. If not, I believe the Bills win. But I'm gonna go. The Chiefs win the Super Bowl if Mahomes is healthy. So I'm expecting Mahomes to play, which is why I'm picking the Chiefs. Interesting stat for you here. Travis Kelce. I know I'm the biggest Kelce fan. Listen to this. He leads the NFL in receiving since 2018. The past 3 seasons, he has 4,428 yards. He's a tight end.
Who's throwing to him?
Mahomes.
Is Mahomes or Henny throwing to him?
I mean, Henny's good, but I don't know. Mahomes is literally Hall of Fame talent right now.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that, but if he's not playing, the Bills eat him up. Eat up Henny. Eat him up.
I agree. it's hard to say who is he playing or not. I'm gonna go assume he is, and if he is, I am never gonna bet against the Kansas City Chiefs with Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, and Patrick Mahomes. I won't bet against him. I won't go against them.
Well,
So if Mahomes is healthy, I'm picking the Chiefs. I know this is an asterisk. If he doesn't play, the Bills will win the game.
all right, I think. Well, I have it even written down. Ruh-roh, Mahomes, right? He's everything to that team, and I'm not saying he's everything in the fact that he's all they got. But just imagine what the Packers would be this year if they didn't have Aaron Rodgers.
It would suck.
So here's the thing. This is what I'm saying here. Mahomes makes that team.
I know.
He makes those weapons that much more deadly. If I'm a coach and I see that my quarterback might or might not have a concussion, I think they're covering up a lot of stuff right now. And he plays, I'm making sure the ball is out of his hands quick. He is not staying in that pocket because one bad hit, who knows what happens. So what's a big thing? Mahomes can take the top off at any moment from anywhere on the field. Does he play hesitant? You know what I mean? I see all these things happening. If Henny's the guy, I think it's no question. Bills roll. Because just imagine losing the whole heartbeat of your team and then trying to play this. The Chiefs could have very much lost last week, and some might say should have lost last week. And here's the other thing. The Bills have probably played a B average in this playoffs, and they're in the AFC Championship game. I still think they have not played their best game of the playoffs.
They haven't.
So that's why I think the Bills get it done. Now, listen, the Bills can very well explode. Their defense has been playing great. You shut down Lamar, who's been tearing it up here at the end of the season, 3 points for the Ravens. Offense wasn't amazing, but they still threw the ball exceptionally well. Diggs and Allen obviously are great together. Last week, Diggs over 100 yards receiving, touchdown catch. I want to say he had 9 receptions there. So go ahead and try to stop that. Cole Beasley been doing great things too. Can they run the ball effectively though? They did not run the ball very effectively yet. Will they be able to run the ball off the Chiefs? I'd like to see them develop some type of run game. But because the Bills have not played their best game and the Chiefs have not proven to play their best game in the past, 8 games, right? I don't know if maybe this is their best game right now. I'm saying the Chiefs go down. I don't have a score because I don't know who's going to be playing for the Chiefs. But regardless who's playing, I think the Bills win. If Henny plays, the Bills roll, never close. All right. Well, that is it for our playoff picks. Now, on to the next segment here.
The Nets.
Nets. Whoa.
You go first.
All right. Nets. They look pretty good, and they just added their all-star point guard to the lineup tonight. I don't even know if I have a score to that game right now, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. With them, here it is right here. 49-51, they're losing Cleveland at half. Classic. But here's the thing. Does Kyrie buy in? I think that's the big question. Can I answer it? I don't know. Can you guys answer it? Probably not. Because no one knows what's going on in Kyrie's head except Kyrie, right?
He doesn't.
Because I think we saw James Harden playing team ball, KD playing team ball. I think those are 2 guys right now that are saying, yo, let's win this thing. We 100% understand what's going on. Let's win this thing. Now listen to the lineup. I don't know if this was a starting lineup tonight, but when they're healthy, Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Joe Harris, DeAndre Jordan.
I know.
That's not bad. Listen, Joe Harris been balling.
Dude, Joe Harris is very good. Very, very good.
The worst player in that starting 5. And that's saying something. A guy who gets double-digit rebounds every night. You know what I mean? And then their bench, Green, I'm assuming, goes to the bench there for them. Yeah. Shamet, Brown, Perry, and then Timothy Luau Camero from the
Shout out Sixers.
So listen, I understand your bench is never great. And in the playoffs, your bench doesn't have to be amazing. It just has to be serviceable. When you make one of these big trades, that's what ends up hurting you a little bit. What's your bench do? Now, obviously, is it going to matter? No, because probably 3 or 4 of these starters are going to play
I
30
was
and
about to
40
say, there's always going to be Kyrie, Harden, or KD on the floor at all times.
And I don't think this gets clean for another month, whatever this is for the Nets. I think it's going to take a month to get clean. But here's the thing. They're going to be very tough to defend when it comes down to it.
Possible.
Because there's 3 guys on this team that can take over at any moment. They've all
Joe Harris can shoot.
They can take over. And then that was my next point. Joe Harris, when all else fails, is a great 4th option. I'm going to say the best 4th option in the NBA. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when are you going to get all 4 of those guys off on a night? You could literally have 3 of those guys off in a night, and the other one's going to pick them up. And yes, I'm saying Joe Harris because on any night he could go out and make 6 3-pointers, 7 3-pointers. You know what I mean? So, listen, I picked the Sixers, and that was before the Harden's trade. But gosh darn, this is a tough team. All right, what do you think, Brandon? Can they be beat?
I literally have, will the Nets win it all? The question. And then I've written down, yes, depending on the locker room with Kyrie. It really depends. It boils down to the locker room, not talent. We all know they're the most talented team. The bench won't matter. And seriously, and imagine if they had Spencer Dinwiddie healthy. Then we'd all be like, all right, they have 6 solid guys who are starters. And then you have Jeff Green. Jeff Green is your 7th guy off the bench.
And Shamit's
your 8th, 9th guy off the bench. I'd be like, there's no way in hell they don't do that. Their problem is going to be a backup big man. That's their problem. They'll probably sign someone. They'll probably trade again for that. They'll probably get rid of Shamit. They don't need another guard, honestly. They don't. They'll probably trade Shamit for like a big man at the trade deadline. Yeah. I could see that happening. I think KD is the best player in the world right now. I'll say a few statistics. He's averaging 30 points per game, which is 2nd in the NBA, only behind Bradley Beal, who's on a terrible Wizards team who lets him jack. So put that aside. KD is shooting 54% from the field. He's a jump shooter. 48% from 3. Seriously. He's shooting 48% from 3.
He's being so efficient. He's just not taking a bunch of them. Well, he's taking them when they're there.
He's scoring 30 points a game, and you're right. He's not like he's jacking 25 shots a game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just simple. It's easy basketball. 7.7 rebounds and 5 assists. Harden, I hate the guy, but so far, so good. I think James Harden and KD are genuinely close to each other. You can tell on the court, like, Harden respects the hell out of him. And James Harden doesn't respect a lot of guys in the NBA, but he respects KD. They've been teammates before, but I mean, we all know KD, and this is often Achilles, is top 2 easily talent in the NBA.
Yeah. And you could say too, James Harden's done everything KD's done except win a championship.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think out of all the guys in the league, James Harden has the most respect for Kevin Durant because I'm sure their boys obviously OKC. And guess what? Durant believed in him there before all of this big stuff. So, it'd be like going back with your best friend and saying, yo, let's go win a championship together.
Yeah.
We're the best players in the league. So
similar you can tell.
Similar to LeBron and Wade a little bit,
Yeah, I think this actually will work out. I think the issue is going to be Kyrie Irving.
Yeah. Can they get him to buy in? So, yeah, I think Brandon and I both same page. Depending on Kyrie, Nets are championship bound here. Again, we'll see. We'll have a sound bit of this if this all blows up.
Yeah, really.
All right, speaking of Kyrie, Duke.
Oh, my God.
Kentucky, UNC, for the first time since 1961. Not in the AP top 25. Brandon, I'm gonna let you go first since you are a Duke basketball
No,
fan.
they
What's up,
suck.
man?
They literally suck. I mean, I knew it was bad when they barely beat Coppin State. People don't even know where Coppin State is. I know because I border the state where it is, but it's like, seriously, Duke, what are you doing? And I think I ranted earlier in the year about this. College basketball sucks. These top recruits are overrated. Seriously, UNC, Duke, Kentucky. Look at the best recruits in the nation. All these schools have gotten from these like players, these pool of players. But guess what? They don't win. They stink. These kids that are like highly recruited and these IMG Academy kids and blah 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 blah. Man, they suck. They don't play team basketball. They just rely in high school on their athleticism because they're playing inferior talent. When everyone's at the same athletic playing field, these guys clearly don't have the fundamentals to be good. Look at Gonzaga. They're averaging 90-something points a game. They are the most fundamentally sound basketball team, and what are they doing? They're winning the game. These top recruits, I'm going to go back to saying it. They're overrated. I really believe that these hoop mixtape stuff is destroying basketball. These kids, man, they get these social media and they, Zion Williamson had 1 million followers in high school. These kids are getting these huge followings. And in reality, they're not even that good. Like, imagine LeBron James during the social media age in high school. I mean, seriously, like, imagine Steph Curry in high school during the social media age. Like, these kids, they just swear they're so good. They're not good. And that's why these colleges are not good. You need to play team basketball fundamentals. Let's go back to it. I'm going to get a t-shirt that says bring back fundamentals to basketball.
I like it. All right, well, I'm going to take a different route here, Brandon. I'm not going to say it's the players.
It is the players.
I'm going to say Coach K.
No.
One of the best coaches ever. You could say he's the best basketball coach, probably second best basketball coach, we'll say, ever in college basketball. Roy Williams, also a very good basketball coach. Obviously, plenty of championships, UNC. Does anybody know how old they are combined?
Coach K's
143. 143. Coach K is 73. Roy Williams is 70.
Yeah.
Listen, I understand there's all this success, but obviously I'm into coaching there. I've been listening to a lot of coaching, different like podcasts and videos and all this stuff. And a lot of them are talking about connecting with today. There's a big difference in today's athlete. And it's not saying they're worse, but the whole connecting point of it. There's a whole social media age that some of these guys still don't get. They have to hire a bunch of people to run their social media accounts, which you're right, you have to do because you don't have time to do that. But they also do it because they have no idea about it. I'm listening to coaches talking about that they're joining TikToks to make videos just so recruits can see that they're
stupid.
In touch with things. But it's not, because that's what people were thinking when Twitter came out,
Nick,
when Instagram came out, Facebook, all this stuff, YouTube, when all this stuff came out, people were like, I can't believe people are hopping on this, coaches and stuff, but they have to. And TikTok's just another thing.
Roy Williams, could care less as a recruit.
But that's the thing. You got to, because that is today's age. Kentucky's problem, I don't know. I don't know if people are just getting tired of Kentucky. Is it losing its flash? SEC.
No, they're getting the recruits, Nick. That's the problem. They're getting these recruits. The recruits are the ones who are stinking.
But that's the thing. How's UConn do it year in and year out for women's basketball? They're getting the top recruits, and it never seems to fail. Never.
You can't. No, don't. No. I'm sorry to say you can't.
Women's basketball.
Women's basketball and men's basketball are two totally different sports, and you know that. In women's basketball, the elite are very elite, and it's not very. After that, it goes downhill.
I agree, but disagree, because you got
men, because of our athletic genes. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
get that, but I don't, because again, the best player in college basketball 2 years ago was from University of Oregon. So I agree, but I don't agree. I think it has a lot to do with the coaching. I do. Now, listen, I think you and I both agree, regardless if Coach K was winning right now or not, his time's almost done. 73 years old. Roy Williams, same boat. His time is almost done because he is 70 years old. Whether they're both winning championships or not, or if they're in the same boat now, their time's almost done. But is this a dream job? And I'm going to ask you before we come back to me here. Is this a dream job for coaches? Or is this a job where people are like, I don't really want to follow Coach K or Roy Williams because those are big shoes to fill. What do you think in that case, Brandon?
That's a very good point. It's going to be impossible to follow Coach K. Seriously. I mean, look at Indiana after Bob Knight. You really can't follow that. And you didn't bring up like Boeheim at Syracuse. He's probably
but by Boeheim, they've been struggling nonstop. So I understand there's respect there, but might have to do a mutual part ways there. And I was going to talk about that too, but he's got to be going too. And again, it's no offense, these guys, when you're 73, 74, 75, trying to connect with 2021, 17 and 18-year-olds.
Well, Boeheim's son is actually in college. That's a different story. I don't know how that's possible, but that helps him probably. But the whole connect thing, you're right. It seems like within the last 15 years, it's gotten different. Obviously, there's generations. People change. Coach K, I feel like he has changed, in my opinion. I really think it's the student athletes. I don't think coaching's the issue. It's all over them that college basketball stinks.
But again, and I know completely different sports. Nick Saban's doing it. Nick Saban's old.
No,
He's doing it. I understand different sport, but it's not. It's not.
It's different. Basketball is different than football.
Listen, I get that it's different, but 64 teams make the tournament. You're telling me Alabama, guess how many make the tournament for that? 4 make the tournament. So Duke and UNC can't constantly be making the tournament and winning games. I think that's BS. I think it's coaching. Now listen.
It's not. When you have 22 people on the field with football, there's more variables.
But if you're Duke, you could get 10 top.
If you're Duke, if you have your top recruit go 2 of 17 from the field, you're going to lose. If Alabama, if your one wideout has a terrible game, you still win the game. It's different.
It'd be different if they weren't getting these recruits, but like you said, they are. They are picking these kids,
and these recruits stink.
And that's on the coaches.
Dude, they stink.
They stink. I'd give UNC more credit, especially last year, because their best players were getting hurt.
No, dude, seriously, Duke's roster is bad. They cannot shoot. But they cannot score.
Whatever, recruits.
It's because everyone loves to see the most athletic guy on the court. We've all played pickup basketball. Just because you're the most athletic doesn't mean you're a basketball player.
You want to talk about can't compare? You can't compare me and you playing basketball in your driveway to Duke.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying in college. We played pickup in college. Just because you're the most athletic doesn't mean you're the best basketball player. And a lot of these recruits are showing that they are just they're superior athletes. Yes, but they aren't basketball players. They aren't focusing on, I need to do a pick here. I need to roll. I need to, I need to move around screens. I need to know how to shoot the ball.
Who teaches them this? Who works with them? Who sets up the plays? Who sets up the offense? Who sets up the defense? The coaches. We can argue this whole time.
They're not coming prepared. They're not. No, they're getting.
This isn't the first. They came in campus in August. They probably were on campus in the summer.
You know what it is? Coaches can't yell anymore. Nick, coaches can't yell anymore.
What do you mean? I guarantee you that if I look at the top 25, all these teams are running sets, plays. Gonzaga, Baylor, Villanova, Iowa, Texas, all in the top 5. I guarantee.
Do they all have top 15 recruits? Because I can guarantee you they don't.
But here's who cares?
They don't.
It's all coaching. They brought them.
What I'm trying to say is that these guys who aren't highly recruited are the ones you want, and the ones you want they help you win. I'm trying to say the top recruits, which is crazy to say. You think the top recruit? Listen to me.
The year Virginia won it, they would have took Zion. They would have took Zion in a heartbeat. He didn't.
Okay, Zion's a different story. Okay. The top recruits are not playing up to par. That's my point, Nick. You're literally all around it. You're not understanding my point. I'm saying the top recruits they're flops. They're pancake. It's Waffle House. They are flopping.
All right. Well, we could argue this all day. But here's the last thing I want to say. With these guys coming up, there's some very good coaches at schools that are not on Duke, UNC, and Kentucky's level. So here's my 4 coaches, and I don't think any of them go to Kentucky. But here's what I say. Mark Few, Gonzaga. Let's be honest. It could be very realistic. Gonzaga makes it the Sweet 16 and loses.
I think they win it this year. I
agree. But would you be surprised if they lost earlier? No, because that's what they do.
I would be surprised this year.
All right. Then you got Scott Drew. Obviously, he's been at Baylor since 2003, and I think he's like 52, 53. Baylor, I have it up here. They've been to the tournament 2008, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19. Obviously, last year didn't even happen. But a guy that's just kind of been there, done that, and he's getting good recruits at Baylor. He's getting them over Texas Tech, who's been to the finals. You know what I mean? Texas A&M, who has Virginia Tech's old coach. That, you know what I mean? Baylor. Shaka, having a good year here. Obviously, he wasn't having a bunch of success, but a younger dude still having good success. Could he ride that out? And then I really think this is Duke's next coach, Mike Bray. All right.
Oh, yeah, dude. I love Mike Bray.
I think he's Duke's next coach.
It's funny.
Notre Dame guy, alumni, Delaware former coach there.
Yeah,
I think Mark Bray is the next coach.
I'm not going to lie. I was literally thinking this like 5 minutes ago. If I put myself in a recruit's shoes, I'm playing for Mike Bray. He's the number 1 coach I'd play for. Seriously.
Number 1?
Yeah, I think Mike Bray would be who I'd play for.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, too. Listen, and this will be the last thing we talk about it because I love talking college basketball. I haven't been into college basketball as much. I like getting back into it. I'm going to have to start watching it even more, especially Saturdays where I'm going to have college football on. But I think Coach K, and listen, cool, they have all this history. And 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, I want to play for Coach K. I want to play for Roy Williams. I think there's other names out there now that people want to play for. I don't think it's Mike Bray, but also that's just my opinion. But there are just coaches out there, right? Jay Wright out there, those type of guys, people want to play for them. So again, we'll get off that. So again, last on the board for today, 3 games we'd go back to attend. All right, so they've already happened. I'm not gonna lie, I had a horrible time with this. I was trying to be a little different. I didn't want to go to the normal, everybody's going to say, and I don't want to say them because you might say them here, but your biggest games ever. Everybody's going to say that, right? So I kind of wanted to be a little creative. Unfortunately, all I could come up with were games I was actually alive for, which kind of sucks. But they're my 3. So Brandon, I'm going to let you go first. 3 games you'd like to go back and attend if you could.
Okay, so I did mine since I was born. So
That's what mine are too. So
I didn't do them like before. Obviously, yeah, this might sound morbid, but I kind of want to see the Lawrence Taylor Washington Redskins game where Lawrence Taylor sacked Theismann. I mean, that would be freaking, that would be crazy to see in person.
Maybe we could make this one games we were alive for and just go to 10, and then maybe another time we could do games we were not alive for.
Yeah, I think so. And I did one for each main sport that I watched. So I'll say the 3.
All right.
Number 3 for me is Game 7 of the 2003 ALCS between the Red Sox and Yankees when Aaron Boone hit his walk-off. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Seriously. I mean, the Red Sox were trying to go to the World Series for the first time in, 100 years? And then the Yankees had won in 96, in 98, 99, 2000. So at that point, they were dominant. That was Derek Jeter's prime, probably 2003, I'd say. So, yeah, that game, I mean, New York in October against your bitter rivals. And that was when the infamous Zimmer, Pedro Martinez fight, like A-Rod came, I think, a few years later, that fight. But, I mean, these teams hated each other's guts. And this was peak. I think peak baseball in my life came between 2000 and 2006. Those were peak years. Like, it was very entertaining. I literally will watch baseball every single night for hours. And not just my Yankees. Like, I would watch every game that was on. I mean, this was very good baseball. I mean, I grew up a baseball fan. Baseball until probably, like I said, 2006 was like the only sport I really, really watched. College basketball, I started to watch like 2004, I'd say. I didn't really watch. I mean, I watched football, but not really. Like, baseball was my sport as a kid. Like, I watched that. So that's why that's the number 3 game. For 2, and I remember this game, but if I could see this in person, it would be insane. 2016 Game 6 Golden State versus OKC. I don't know if you remember that game, but Klay Thompson went off. He had like 11 threes. Like, they were dead in the water, the Warriors. Remember, this was a 73-9 team, and they were facing elimination. Like, this was huge. Granted, yeah, they lost in the finals, but, like, we didn't know. At the time, it was like, yo, if they didn't win this game, they were going to lose. Yeah. And, Klay went off, and honestly, I think it was Westbrook who, like, turned it over late, and like, the Thunder choked at the end. I think KD missed a shot or two, and it's just crazy, that game. That was a really, really entertaining game. But I do know the reason they won was because of Klay Thompson. And then number 1, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. The 2007 Giants-Patriots Super Bowl. I mean, 9-7 or 10-6 maybe Giants versus 18-0 Patriots. I mean, they seriously. I mean, Randy Moss had 23 touchdowns that year. Tom Brady threw like 50-something touchdowns.
And you could say that wasn't even Randy Moss' prime.
No, I know. It's probably late prime. Like, that team was 18-0, and they lost to a team who barely was above 500.
Well, they played earlier in the year in a good game too, right?
Yes, they did. They did, and it was a very good game, and that's what gave the Giants confidence, and it kind of momentum and everything. But that was Michael Strahan, who, by the way, is one of the great. I mean, he has the all-time sack record for a single season. Justin Tuck, Yuman Yora. I think Matthias Kiwanuka was on that team. Like that, those Giants pass rushers were top tier. We're talking top tier talent. So if there's any team,
listen to Strahan talk about their whole plan on that too. I've listened to a good interview with him. Their whole thing was just knock the crap out of Brady that game.
Yeah, exactly. You get him ruffled, and that game. I mean, that David Tyreek had. Holy crap! That's still. I don't care what anyone says. I'm biased. But that's the craziest play I think I've ever seen in football. I don't know how Eli Manning got out of that.
Definitely up there. I'm going to say there's been harder catches. Obviously, the way he called it was crazy. But I'm not saying the moment of everything.
Everything. It's got to be number 1. Like, they're down versus an undefeated team 14-10 or 10-7. What was it? I don't even know. I think it was 10-. Regardless, they were down, and Eli Manning did not get sacked, and then just heaves it in typical Eli Manning fashion, and it just goes up, floats like a freaking duck, and somehow, some way, David Tyree, who might have had 7 catches all season, I don't even know why he was in on the play, catches the ball over Rodney Harrison, who's one of the best safeties in football, on some BS on the helmet. Like, what? And then Mr. I shoot myself in the thigh, catches the game-winning touchdown. Like, That game was crazy. If I saw that in person, I would have lost it when the Giants won.
All right. That was your 3 there. All right. Well, my 3, like I said, I had a really hard time. I'm sure I'm missing some games that I didn't even think about, and I cheated a little bit because I went some serious here. So first one I'm going to go here. And the reason I said it when I was doing the research, just looking at the names in this game, the 2013 finals. Let me go to every game in that finals. Miami Heat, San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
It was literally back and forth the whole time. So again, I think it was, let me see if I can find it here. It was, okay. So when Spurs, Heat, Spurs, Heat, Spurs, Heat, Heat. That was the series. Back and forth, back and forth. Just listen to some of the names in this game, in this series here. Tony Parker, Ginobili, Duncan, Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, very young Danny Green too, and Kawhi. Listen, Danny Green's the worst out of all of them, obviously, but Kawhi, Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker all on the
Patty
Spurs.
Mills.
Then the Heat, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Ray Allen, and then you go Shane Battier, Mario Chalmers, Mike Miller, all those guys. But again,
yeah,
D Wade, LeBron, Chris Bosh, and Ray Allen all on the same team. Those are 2 fours going right back at each other. Nuts. And then obviously game 6, you have that crazy rebound by Bosh, kick out to Allen for 3, bang, for the game winner there. So again, just the names in it and just how good of a series it was, back and forth, back and forth. You know, usually you get those 3-0, 2-0, whatever games, 3-1 games. So that's why I thought just the names and how back and forth it was, it'd be a cool series to go to. Then another series, kind of going off what Brandon said there, the 04 ALCS.
Yeah.
Red Sox, Yankees.
If you picked the Red Sox one.
Listen to this. It goes Yankees 10-7, Yankees 3-1, Yankees 19-8. Imagine going down 3-0, 19-8.
19-8. I know, it's incredible.
Then you go Red Sox in 12, Red Sox in 14, back-to-back nights, going 12 and then 14. Then game 6, you go Red Sox 4-2, obviously Schilling there with the bloody sock. And then Red Sox just destroy the Yankees.
Nick, that's got to be the greatest series in all sports.
Obviously,
that has to be.
That was such a great series. Obviously, the one a couple years ago with Houston and the Dodgers with all those bombs in that one game, that was crazy too. But just for the rivalry.
Nothing beats that Yankee Red Sox 2004.
Whatever happened after this kind of sucks, honestly. Wishing this was the World Series. Obviously, couldn't be. But just that whole series, the rivalry, because like you said, that was the peak.
That was peak.
That was the last time it was ever that, in my opinion, ever that big.
Baseball, you mean?
Just the Red Sox Yankees rivalry.
Baseball in 2000, between 2000 and 2004, baseball was up here. It was up here.
Yeah. I mean, some good baseball.
Then you had like even the Cardinals, like Albert Pujols was like freaking
Cardinals. So yeah, just a crazy, crazy series. I would have loved to have been in Boston.
Oh my God.
The whole time.
New York.
Of age. So yeah. And then my last one, this is a personal favorite. I always say this when people ask. Roy Halladay's no-no in the NLDS, his first ever postseason start. Only 8 Ks. I say only 8 Ks, but when you go complete game, 8 Ks isn't that much. Put the ball in play, some good defense there. Phil's ended up winning. Obviously, a crazy, crazy year there. Because he also had a perfect game against the Marlins earlier that year too. Just a great game. And then people don't talk about that last play Chooch had, swinging bunt, hardest play in baseball. I always say it. If you've ever heard me at a baseball game, swinging bunt is the hardest play to defend in baseball because you get a guy swinging out of his shoes and it goes, 5-10 feet. He has to jump over the bat, pick it up, throw it from his knees, and throw out I want to say it was Brandon Phillips, who at the time was an all-star. So again, just a crazy game. I love some Roy Halladay. RIP. That would be my number one game that we were alive for that we'd like to go attend. So that is all we got for today. Episode 9 of these bad boys in the books. Got any last words, Brandon?
No, just enjoy football this weekend because we only have 2 more weekends of it.
Yes, my goal this week from here through the weekend, watch one full college basketball game. We'll see if we can get that in.
Yeah, I agree with that. I haven't watched a whole lot. I have watched a lot of Gonzaga, believe it or not, which is why I think they're so good.
So, all right. Well, my name's Nick.
I'm Brandon.
See you guys next week. Have a good one.